Thank you, and as you all share our joy, we on the search committee are very delighted to be at this stage of the process. I'd like to introduce the members of the search committee. We had Dr. Jay Nykirk. I saw him come in, so I know there he is. And Professor Amy Russin, and two administrators, Mr. Larry Griffith and Dr. Melinda Stevens. And our two trustees have been working so hard on the search committee that they were not able to come today. They have to attend to other things. But they were John Edgar Esquire and Mr. James Roy, President and CEO of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh. He's retired. And two corporators, Mr. David Schaefer, who's a senior functional analyst at Eaton Corporation, and myself. And our trustee chair, Joy Houston, also attended all of our meetings, and she's cheering us on here from Kansas. Since last June, each member spent approximately 75 hours in meetings associated with the search, and as much time reading material, answering emails, and I confess for my part, worrying, but most important of all, praying about our decisions. This was an extremely responsive committee. If there was a decision that needed to be made, I was able to get an email response from a majority of committee members within a few hours, and this allowed us to stick to the timeline we had originally set, even while giving full consideration to some very late applications that we received. So what did we do in our search? We started out by consulting with leaders who had recently participated in other searches at other colleges, and we solicited nominations from the campus. I thank you all for the many nominations that we received, from alumni, from the Reformed Presbyterian Church, and we received nominations for 26 people, and about half of those people submitted applications. We then chose 6 candidates for a 2-hour telephone interview with the entire committee. And after those interviews, we interviewed in pairs references that were provided by each of the applicants in order to further narrow the field. We then conducted in-person interviews with 3 candidates at the Pittsburgh Hyatt, and after much discussion and checking further references, our committee came together in support of Dr. Calvin Troup. And a pastor encouraged us with the words, he had just told us in every prayer meeting he'd attended in the last couple of months, he had heard someone pray for the presidential search. So we know that this was a result of many people's prayers. And we presented our report to the full trustee board last Friday. They interviewed Dr. Troup extensively, and I wish you could have all heard his answers because he speaks beautifully, as you will hear soon. And they voted to elect him. And on Saturday, after an interview by the corporators, his election was unanimously approved. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's a proud member of the Geneva class of 1993. He majored in speech communication and was the center on the football team. After graduation, Dr. Troup worked as a trend analyst, a congressional staff aide, and he worked as an executive for a national nonprofit professional association in Washington, D.C. He returned to academia, earning a master's degree in 1991 and a PhD in 1994 in speech communication from Penn State. He also taught at Penn State and at Indiana University in Bloomington. And for the last 20 years, he has worked in the Department of Communication and Rhetorical Studies at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh as the director of the university's nationally ranked rhetoric PhD program. As a scholar, he studies the rhetoric and philosophy of St. Augustine and The Rhetoric of Technology. His books include Temporality, Eternity, and Wisdom, The Rhetoric of Augustine's Confessions, published by the University of South Carolina Press in 1999, and Augustine for the Philosophers, The Rhetor of Hippo and Religion. Sorry. The Rhetor of Hippo, The Confessions, and this is published by Baylor University Press in 2014. Troup has edited the Journal of Communication and Religion and is a past president of the Religious Communication Association. He is editor-elect of Explorations in Media Ecology, the International Journal of the Media Ecology Association. Since returning to the Pittsburgh area, Dr. Troup served on the Geneva College Board of Corporators and Board of Trustees, leading a number of college and board committees, and chairing the Board of Trustees Education Committee. He and his wife, Amy, and I'd like you to stand here if you don't mind, have 4 daughters, and one of them is back there. She's going to wave for us, Hannah. 2 sons-in-law and 2 granddaughters. They are members of Grace Reformed Presbyterian Church in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, where Dr. Troup serves as an elder. And finally, let me share 2 quotes from his references. This is from Professor Clifford Christians from the University of Illinois, Urbana. Calvin Troup is a brilliant scholar, an educational leader in the philosophy of technology and intellectual history. He is one of those rare educators who's both a premier researcher and loves teaching and learning in the classroom. Mr. Troup is polished and winsome in the public arena, and no one presents distinctively Christian liberal arts education more attractively. He has that premium leadership gift which expects excellence in people and inspires them to achieve it. And finally, from President Mark Dalby of Covenant Seminary, Calvin Troup is a dedicated, faithful, and effective Christian educator, elder, husband, father, and friend. He possesses strong, collaborative, calm, gospel-shaped, missional, servant leadership qualities that are well suited to the office of President of Geneva College. Please welcome to the podium Dr. Calvin Troup.